Good morning. We're going to start very quickly with an activity. I would like you to find on this page and read all multisyllabic words out loud, please. You may need to write them down after you read them because I'm going to ask you to scoop those multisyllabic words into syllables for me. So go ahead and read through those now. Pause me, read through, write them down, and then scoop through the syllables, please. Okay, hopefully you got some time. You paused this video and you did all of those word scoops. The next thing I would like you to do is choose one of those words and you are going to use it in a sentence for me so that we can see what it means. So choose one of those words and write it into a sentence. So that's part 2. You might need to pause me again here. Okay, and now you're going to need a sheet of paper. We're going to be doing a dictation. So if you don't have a sheet of paper and a pencil to write with, please go get that right now. Go ahead and pause me and go grab those items for yourself if you didn't have them already. Okay, so we're going to start off. We're going to do 3 sounds. Please make sure you follow those directions that are given to you. So for number 1, say woof. What says woof? Please write what says woof for number 1. Number 2, say ank. What says ank? Write what says ank for number 2. For number 3, say my tongue is coming out through my mouth. So say what says, write what says for number 3. Okay. So repeat those sounds. For 1, you got whoop. 2, ank. 3. If you need to make corrections to any of those, go ahead and do that right now. We're going to do 2 review words. Review word number 1, say throb. If you need to tap out those sounds for throb, but it is a review, so you may just write throb. Number 2, say pinched. What's the base word in pinched? Write pinch. And then add the suffix to make it say pinched. Please circle that suffix and underline your base word. Review word number 1 was throb. Review word number 2 was pinched. Make any adjustments if you need to. Okay, number 1 is going to be a nonsense word. Nonsense word number 1, say plested. What's the base word in plested? Please write plest. Write the suffix to make it say plested. Nonsense word number 2, say yed. Write yed. And then read back through those nonsense words out loud. You should read plested and yed. Now we're down at those current words. There will be 6 of them. Current word number 1, say nutmeg. Tap out the syllables in nutmeg. What's the first syllable in nutmeg? How will you spell that? What's the second syllable in nutmeg? How will you spell that? Make sure you've written both of those syllables down and read it as you scoop back through. Nutmeg. Number 2, say disrupt. Tap out the syllables in disrupt. What's the first syllable in disrupt? How are you going to spell that? Write that down. And what's the second syllable in disrupt? Write that one down. Read and scoot back through. Disrupt. Number 3. Say pilgrim. Tap out the syllables in pilgrim. What's the first syllable in pilgrim? What's the second syllable in pilgrim? Make sure that when you're listening, you can hear pilgrim, not pilgrim, but pilgrim. Make sure you write both syllables and scoot back through. Pilgrim. Number 4. Say insistent. Tap out the syllables in insistent. What's the first syllable in insistent? How will you spell that? Make sure you sub-vocalize as you write it. What's the second syllable in insistent? How will you write that? And the third syllable in insistent. Make sure you've written each syllable one by one. Read and scoot back through. Insistent. Number 5. Say punishing. What's the base word in punishing? Tap out the syllables in punish. What's the first syllable in punish? How will you write that? And what's the second syllable in punish? And how will you write that? Make sure you put both of those syllables down and scoop through. Read it as you do. And then add the suffix to make it say punishing. Number 6. Say upsets. What's the base word in upsets? Right? The first syllable. What's the first syllable? How are you going to spell that? Write and sub-vocalize. And what's the second syllable? Very good. How are you going to spell that? All right, you should have upset. Then add the suffix to make it say upsets. Very good. Okay, so we're going to go back through and we're going to read each of those words. So for number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you should have said nutmeg, disrupt, pilgrim, insistent, punish, punishing, upset, upsets. Very good. So we're going to have 4 phrases. Phrase number 1, say, finishes the script. Right? Finishes the script. Number 2, feel free to pause me if you need to. Number 2, say, full of gumdrops. Right? Full of gumdrops. Number 3, again, pause me if you need to. Say, was too complex. Right? Was too complex. And number 4, say, put on blindfold. Right? Put on blindfold. All right. Go ahead and read back through each phrase, scooping as you go. Finishes the script. Full of gumdrops. Was too complex. Put on blindfold. Very good. Okay, you might need to pause me. We're doing 2 sentences, so if you need to pause me to write your sentence, please feel free to do that. So say, Calvin is drafting a subcontract. And then write it. When you're done, please make sure you started with a capital and ended with a stop sign. I would like you to scoop through the words Calvin, drafting, and subcontract. Hopefully you have that done. You're going to read and scoop through. Calvin is drafting a subcontract, and we stop there.